Peace, peace, peace. Rob Blackstorm here. I appreciate y'all for being patient with me. I know I haven't filmed a video in a while. Going through different things, life challenges, different changes, but I want to bring some information to the table. I want to talk to y'all for a little while and build on something, on some concepts and some ideas that I was utilizing, and also concepts and ideas that I think can help people to grow, enhance themselves. So, what I want to talk about, the topic is the universal womb. And in the universal womb, what we're talking about is there's three stages of development, or three stages, or three womb stages, right? And it's not just the physical womb where we're thinking about the mother having a baby, but we are using the archetype or the symbolism of a mother having a child in order to start this discussion. And we want to start with what is the first mother, or who is the first mother, or where did we come from? And where we came from is, we initially can say we came from outer space, right? Because we are nothing more than a collection of minerals, right? If we think about it, we are erect sperm. The brain being the head of the brain being the head of the sperm, and your spinal column being the tail of the sperm. So your vertebrae inside of your spinal column, which is the bone protecting the tail of the sperm, and your brain being the head of the sperm, right? So you're a sperm inside of an egg still, and the egg being your body, which is the feminine principle, right? With the egg covering you, which is your flesh, your skeletal system, your circulatory system, all to protect that which you are. So you are nothing more than a collection of minerals and elements that were created in the universe far before you came here. This is what the body is, or what you would call the meat suit, right? So the first creation, or the first womb, is the universe. We were first created in the universe as minerals, as dust. They say from dust we come from, and from dust we shall return, right? Popular scripture. And what they're talking about there is what we are. This is just flesh, right? Minerals, bone, fluid, water mostly. Water and a bunch of flesh. Vertebrae and muscle, glands, kidneys, lungs, thyroids, pineal, thalamus, hypothalamus, and just a whole bunch of different glands and different systems, right? So that's what the body is made up of. So when we're talking about the first womb, it has to be the universe. We have to come from the universe. But the question is, what part of the universe, or where in the universe that we come from? That is a good question. Well, what the Dogons would say is that we come from the dog star, which is Sirius B, right, in Orion's belt. So if you look at a movie like Men in Black, they're talking about wanting to get Orion's belt. They want to go to Sirius B. That's what they were talking about. The men in black, or the men in black skin, really, right? So there's a lot of mythology that is now played out in the movies in the theater. Because if you say and think that it's real, it now becomes real. So it now becomes reality. So as long as you continue to create ideas and create emotion that attaches to those ideas, it's now a real thing. Because now you formed an emotional bond with the idea. Once emotion is attached to it, your body gives off a vibration, it gives off a frequency, it gives off an energy signature, it gives off heat. So once it gives off heat, it gives off radiation. So that radiation, what it does is it gives off energy, but that energy always doesn't die. It just changes shape or form. So the energy that you pull out is part of your magnetic field. So the energy that you pull out will remagnetize to itself. That's part of your magnetic field. You're sending out an energetic signal. That energetic signal is going to attract what you want. Just like Hot 97 or a radio station sends out an energetic signal to attract what it wants. So the way you conduct this energetic signal is through frequency. And frequency is basically what you do frequently, or what you do repetitiously, what you do religiously. See, the path of knowledge and the path of spirituality and the path of, I don't want to say righteousness because righteousness is corny, but the path of living for improvement is not something that you do on the weekend, that you just do on a Sunday. You know, you do for a Sunday. That's why the church is such a great game, because you go one day, you hear a great speech, you feel inspired for that moment, and once you feel inspired, you give up that cash because you feel good, you feel like donating, you felt good, the choir was banging. But then when you go back out into the real world, there's no real tools. You might get a word, but there's no real tools. There's no real expectations. There's no real regimen that you yourself are conducting, but probably prayer. Now, if you're a prayer warrior, that's a good thing, because you're sending out ideas and you're sending out instructions into the universe. So essentially, you're creating your reality. Even though you're using it from the backing of Jesus, you're having faith that it's going to happen if you're doing it with faith and the emotional faith as you're praying, and not praying like a beggar, but praying like you want God to help you. And you know that it's going to happen because you say it so. And you say the amen. So be it. So you create that, then you are able to create a reality yourself. And it's the same thing with someone that is following what they would call a left-hand path, or where they're not going, where they're into the occult, or they're going into different modes of creativity with their spirituality. See, it's all the same thing. It's just different levels of energy that you're playing with. When you're praying, you're basically just relying on visualization and hope and faith. And while that's good, there's a lot of faith without works is dead. And there's a lot of people that are not working along with their faith. They're not taught to work with their faith. They're not taught to do things that would go according with their faith. So therefore, there's just faith and there's no action. There's just talk, but no personal accountability. There's just a way of life, and there's criticism, but there's no real accountability, though. It's just criticism, according to a law that's not really even followed by the leaderships. You know what I'm saying? How many preachers and spiritual leaders do we see get caught up in scandals? So it has nothing to do with that. So going back to the universe being the womb. With the universe being the womb, what it is it's our first creator. The universe gave us what it is. We all come out of dark matter. We all come out of the darkness of space. Everything comes out of the darkness of space, right? Everything. So if everything comes from the darkness of space, including the planet that we are sitting on, then we are part of the darkness of space. From darkness comes the light. From chaos comes order. And we live in an orderly universe. Comets come around the same time during the year. You could bet your bottom dollar in New York in January, February, it's going to be very cold, right? When you wake up, 9 a.m., the sun's going to be out. Even if it's cloudy, it's going to be light. And at about midnight, wherever you are, it's going to be dark. At midnight, it's going to be dark. These are the realities. So in the womb, or the matrix, if you want to call it the matrix, we are We're a speck of dust, but we are stardust. We are stars. We are made of stardust. Again, we're made up of everything in the universe. Carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, sulfur, and also electricity. You see, the universal womb, or the womb that we really come from, the next step of that is we go into our mother's womb, and then we become children. And our mother's womb is the second womb. The universe is the first womb, and then our mother's womb is the second womb. Now, we know the second womb can be influenced by sound. It can be influenced by what the mother's diet. It can be influenced by the mother's thoughts. It can be influenced by the father's thoughts, by the father's sound. Because there is a connection. Because once the woman is pregnant, oxytocin is also enhanced in the father, which is the bonding hormone. So the oxytocin is rising in the mother and the father of the child to bring them together. This is how marvelous the body is, and marvelous our universal system is, or our subconscious system is, because our subconscious is what's tapped into the universe of space. Our subconscious is in the quantum field, right? Most of us saw Avengers Endgame, where they're talking about, or one of the Marvel movies where they're talking about the quantum universe, Ant-Man, the quantum universe. Well, the quantum universe is a subatomic universe that we cannot see, but it's really what they would call the spirit world, where there is no rules of time or the rules of order. The rules are what you think they are, and you create the rules that you want them to be. Even though there is structure, because you can't not eat and not drink nothing for 30 days and think you're going to survive, right? So you're going to have to sleep. You're going to have to recharge your battery. So there are rules, and there are laws, and there are limitations. But in the womb of the universe, and then we come to the womb of our mother, and then we become human. And the third womb is the womb of the mind. This is the third womb. But remember, we said the subconscious is the universe. So the subconscious is the universal mind. The subconscious is the universe. It's what's tapped. It's what we were before we were human. The universe is the first womb. It's the first thing that gave birth. From the universe came the planets, came the galaxies. From the universe came the sun. From the universe came everything. So we come from the universe. We are part of the universe. One verse. So we are all connected universally. So when you tap into yourself and start harnessing energy, you will begin to use your subconscious and begin to use your subconscious to manipulate matter in your favor. Because your subconscious mind is what's tapped into everything. And what the conscious mind is supposed to do, or what we're supposed to do with the conscious mind, is we're supposed to use it and get in the driver's seat of it and drive it like a car. And the conscious mind is supposed to direct the subconscious mind on where to go. And how we do that is by giving information to the womb, which is the mind. The same way a mother gives information to the baby through diet, through sound, and through emotion. The same way the universe of dark matter or dark energy gives birth to planets, to stars, to suns, to galaxies, to supernovas, to comets, to asteroids. The same way the universe gives birth to things, planets, P-L-A-N, change the E to an I, plan it. What are you planning? What are you planning? What is your planet? What are you planning? What planet are you creating? What world are you creating for yourself? As above, so below. So we have our parents, right, who inform us. And let's say this: from dark matter, or from the darkness of the universe, comes light. This is a fact. Everything comes from the darkness of space. You see stars, but the background is darkness, dark matter, dark energy. So the same way the universe gives us light, or the universe gives us stars, or the universe gives us the moon, or the universe gives us the sun, it's the same way we give off light. Now, we could give off sunlight, which is warm, which helps things grow, which is critical to melanin, because what we do with melanin is we absorb sunlight and we turn it to energy. The same way plants absorb sunlight through chlorophyll and use it as nutrients in the plant. So that's why a plant, wherever you put a plant, is always going to approach the sun, because the sunlight is essential to the plant for the chlorophyll. It's essential to give nutrients to the plant. It's the same way that we, as melanated beings, harness sunlight, and we're able to use that sunlight as energy. And we're able to, so it's just like Black Panther's suit, which is why Black Panther resonated through the Black consciousness as a whole. Not just because it was the first Black superhero movie, but because it was so realistic. Because the melanated body is the same as Black Panther's suit. It absorbs energy and it's able to reflect energy back out. And the way it's able to do that is through vibration. The way it's able to do that is through frequency. So as you generate waves, tidal waves of thoughts, you keep generating energy. Because remember, we're dealing with vibration, we're dealing with frequency, and we're dealing with energy. We're not dealing with matter. So we have to start seeing ourselves not from the perspective of basic humanity. And by basic humanity, I mean what the Matrix is. Go to work, 9 to 5, drink on Friday, chill on the, run errands on Saturday, lazy Sunday, watch Netflix, and just live your life, gossip, sports, reality shows, just live a basic life. Trauma, hating all the time, playing hours worth of video games, not directing your life, or not directing your energy, or not directing the ideas that you want to come forth with. See, people always say just set it and forget it and leave it alone. I don't agree with that, because everything moves in waves. I'm speaking to you right now, that's a sound wave. Right? You're taking that in. You're looking at me, you're taking in light waves to see me. What they would call photons. Photon is nothing but a unit of light. So you're taking in light waves, photons, by seeing me. You're listening to me, you're hearing sound waves. Your heart has a beat, which is a vibration. So, in the womb of our minds, the most important thing is what we are taking in. If the universe produces light in the form of stars, in the form of planets, but the universe, out of darkness comes light, or things that are visually manifest, then what light are we bringing out into ourselves? What is our North Star? What is our guidance system? What are we putting into the womb of our minds? Because now we're no longer, we are part of the universe, and we were once part of our mothers who designed us, right? So happy Mother's Day. We are part of our mothers who designed us physically and made sure we were able to come out into the world physically. But now everything else is on us. Now we have parents who teach us, who initially inform the womb or give information, which information is just light. Information. Inform is the key word, so it informs you. Whatever you take in, it forms who you are. So if you had bad parents, you took in bad information, right? And a lot of us have bad parents, so we took in bad information, which is why we're here now, trying to reverse the process of taking in all this bad information. So the third womb is the mind, the second womb is the womb of your mom, and the first womb is the universe, where we all come from. And the key is to tune into the womb of the mind. Well, how do you do that? One of the first things you can do is you learn to meditate. You sit with your hands relaxed, your back on a chair, and breathe in. And breathe out. And you can start doing that, breathing in by pushing your abdomen out, and breathing out by pushing your abdomen in. And you breathe out through your nose, not through your mouth. You keep your mouth closed and your tongue to the roof of your mouth. And you start with breaths of 4. And by doing these breaths, you count to 4, breathing in and out. And eventually that repetition, you can count to 4 too. And eventually that repetition will start taking your mind into your thoughts and different thoughts of the day. And what you just want to do is observe them. You don't want to judge them. You don't want to try to change anything. You just want to observe them. And as you see them come across, you'll be able to see the things that you're thinking and even the music that you listen to and the verses that play in your head from the songs that you listen to play in your head, and see if these are ideas and concepts that you want to continue to replay in your head subconsciously. Because that's what's happening when we take in bad information. When we watch police videos, these are units of light, right? This is light that we're taking in. From the darkness of our minds, we're taking in information in form. So we're taking in units of light. We're taking in photons. We see it. It goes through the eyes. It's processed as a unit of light. It's something that affects our perception and what we would call our third eye, right? Our third eye is really the pineal gland. But we also have the mind, which is a womb. But the third eye is really the pineal gland, because the pineal gland is what you activate and secretes the hormones that allow you to connect to the universe. That's all it is. It's a hormonal secretion that allows you to connect to the universe that the pineal gland secretes. That allows you to see. It allows you to enhance your perception. So everything that you take in, all information, is nothing more than units of light or photons. It all depends on the light that you take in to what level you grow on the light spectrum. This is why chakras are different colors. Chakras are different colors because there's different colors on the light spectrum. So you start off from a low infrared, and then you keep rising up until you reach to ultraviolet and beyond. Because the different levels of light that you access gives you different levels of perception. This is why in Avengers Endgame, Thanos was purple. And you see, he still got shit done. He won. He did his thing. Now they went back and changed the past. But in the timeline that they completed, before they brought everybody back, there was 5 years of misery. So he still accomplished what he accomplished. They just brought everybody back. But it doesn't mean that the world wasn't still destroyed in what it was. Now it's just more people. So now it's a different type of war going on. because people now are moved in and doing different type of and have acquired different resources now, different ways to make money. People have gotten different jobs in those 5 years. So now the new people are coming back, and they're probably going to want their jobs back and want their way of life back. So now it's a new adjustment, and we're talking about Avengers Endgame. But I say that, and I use that example to say that when we are following things on social media, when we are watching things on TV, when we are listening to music at certain times, it doesn't mean that you have to be strict with yourself. It doesn't mean that you can't listen to ratchet music. It doesn't mean that you have to go vegan. It doesn't mean that you have to abstain from sex. This is not dogma. This is not religion. Religion has all these rules in order to keep you from using your mind and trap your body. So if they trap your body and always keep you in some sort of physical bondage where they control how you physically move, then you never focus on freeing your mind. You're always focused on freeing your body. You get what I'm saying? You're always focused on abstaining from sex or controlling the sexual urge. You're always focused on not cursing or not saying anything wrong to offend God. You're always focused on, did I do something wrong to hurt that person? You're always focused on physical actions, and you are taken away from mental actions. You're taken away from the womb. How they say in the Willie Lynch doctrine, they captured the body, right? They captured the mind and used the body. And that's what they do with the rules and the dogma. So I'm not with the rules and the dogma. What I am with is ritualistic practice in this womb of the mind, giving birth the same way the universe gives birth to stars and galaxies, giving birth to worlds the same way you could give birth to your world, the same way you could give birth to your universe around you. Who are the people that are around you? What are the things that surround you? What are the things that spiral around you on a daily basis? All these things that you accept. Because I had to come to a point where I was willing to be alone if I wasn't going to get what I needed spiritually. But I wasn't going to get what I deserved from the world or what I thought I should manifest from the people that were around me because of their energy and their vibration. So I was willing to separate myself from that. And then more blessings started to pour in and more great things started to happen. But you have to make a decision if that's something that you want to do. Because it's easy being comfortable when you're in a cycle that you've been doing repetitiously. Because now you have to make a new cycle. And making a new cycle is the hardest part. Making a new ritual is the hardest part because you've been doing the same thing subconsciously. You've had the same friends subconsciously. You've gone to the same areas subconsciously. You practice FOMO subconsciously. You got to go to every party. You got to go to every hot event. You got to drink on Friday. You got to relax every Sunday. If you ain't got no money, there's really no days to relax. And you always want to be practicing success principles. And how you do it again, one way is meditation. Another way is journaling, writing out what you want, going on websites like Zillow, looking at houses you can't afford, looking at things that you want to buy that you can't afford, feeling yourself have it, feeling it emotionally in your heart, like feel yourself that you have the house that you want. Feel yourself that you have the item that you want. Feel that you have the things that you want. And eventually it'll start to manifest itself. Good things will start to happen randomly. You'll start to randomly find money. People will start to randomly help you out of nowhere. You start to make random connections with people that have connections with people. But first things first is you have to feed. Out of darkness must come the light. Now you can stay in darkness and there's no stars in your universe or not enough stars in your universe. You can stay in darkness and never create a planet. No, not have enough sun and to power your galaxies. Because the universe has galaxies. What's in your galaxy? Is there an Earth in your galaxy? Is there a sun in your galaxy? Or is just Pluto in your galaxy? Is there a Saturn in your galaxy? Is there a moon in your galaxy? And when we're talking about galaxy, we're using these principles or these things that are actually in the galaxy as we know them to be as archetypes to represent the coldness of Pluto. Are you cold-hearted? Are you a cold person? The Saturn luck, do you have money that revolves around you? Do you have good things that revolve around you continuously? Or is it bad luck that revolves around you? And what's causing that bad luck to revolve? And how can you reverse that bad luck? Which would be Mercury, which is communication. So the planet Mercury is for communication. And it will be, okay, how do we activate Mercury so that it could go down to Pluto? So it could go down to Jupiter. So it's all a succession. Even with the planetary succession, they all have meaning. They all have meaning for the planet. And they all have meaning for us because they come in at different times. This is why astrology is important, because when these planets line up and hit the Earth, their energetic signature or their electromagnetic current, because they are rotating as well, they're generating an electromagnetic current. Everything that is moving is generating an electromagnetic current. You are an electromagnetic being. This world that is created around us is basically a virtual reality. It's basically a virtual reality because the way we interpret the world is really through waves. Sound waves hit the air, it generates an electrical impulse, which stirs the eardrum, which allows me to hear. But it's an electrical spark, just like a spark that you would see on top of a light pole, or a spark from when you spark a candle on a box, right? That spark you see. And even on the candle, you can see how there's different levels of heat because of how the heat, even on the candle, you see at the bottom it goes from ultraviolet blue, and then at the top it kind of looks yellowish, sun, or looks like the sun, right? So it looks like the sun the higher the candle goes. So that's why they say you have 12 chakras, because you could rise above the 7th chakra. You could rise above purple or into ultraviolet and beyond. You can be that flame, but you have to devote most of your time into consuming fire. And by consuming fire is what inspires you. If it's art, then consume art. If it's good music, then consume good music. If it's business, then consume business ideas. If it's spirituality, then consume spirituality ideas. Watch things on YouTube that inspire you. Watch people on YouTube that inspire you. Watch shows on YouTube that inspire you. Watch things on TV that have meaning that you can learn from. Even though it's entertainment, don't just watch blind entertainment like Love and Hip Hop and, Real Housewives, even sports shows. And, you get caught watching ESPN all day. And reality shows and sports shows and playing video games all day and not programming your life the way you want it to be. Enjoy your life, but dedicate a portion of your life to the God within. Dedicate a portion, most of your life, to the womb. We are 70% water. Water flows on currents. Water tidals. Water flows up and down. So what is salt water? Is it made of Pepsi, Kool-Aid, processed juice? What is the water within made of? Dr. Pepper, beer, Old English, Mad Dog 2020. What is our inner water made of? What is the amniotic fluid of our womb now that we are out of our mother? Because we know we couldn't do that. Our mother couldn't do that with the child, right? The child will be born with deficiencies. If in the womb, the child was intoxicated all the time, or the baby was intoxicated all the time, or the seed was intoxicated all the time, or high all the time, or, just, as they say, knocked about, here, there, and everywhere, unstable. You have to develop rituals that will help you to transcend. Again, meditation is one. Journaling is one. Exercise definitely should be a ritual, even if it's just 15 minutes a day of you running in place, or you doing push-ups, or you doing jumping jacks. But things to get your blood moving, to get your body going. Don't just sit down and sit in stasis. You have to keep the body going. You have to keep the blood flowing. These things send serotonin to the brain and allow you to feel pleasure and allow you to feel motivated to conquer your demons and conquer your fears, which is what self-mastery is about, which is what this womb is about. Self-development, mastering your fears, and being able to manipulate nature and manipulate the universe around you, which some call the law of attraction. It's really the law of magnetism, which would be the law of attraction, but you're an electromagnetic being. Let's use the science. You have a magnetic field. They call it a torus or a toroidal field, but it's an electromagnetic field because you're generating a heartbeat and you're generating a vibration that spreads. As long as your heart beats, you're generating a vibration. Your heart has a sound. If you listen for it, you can listen to your heartbeat. Put 2 fingers to your neck, and you can listen right here on the throat. You can listen to your heartbeat. Now, in the womb of the mind, again, you have to be disciplined, but you do not have to neglect the animal within. See, what they call God and what they call devil is really what you're calling man and what you're calling animal. Because a man can act like a pig. Man or woman can act like a pig. Man or woman can act like a wolf. Man or woman can act like a tiger. A man or woman can act like, you get what I'm saying, a cheetah, a rat. These are different characteristics that humans can embody because we are part animal as well. We are mammal. So you could just fall victim to your urges and be a slave to your urges, which is what animals are. They can't control themselves. It's instinct or not. The key is to bring enough light by ingesting enough things or shooting out enough stars or enough sunlight into your mind or enough inspiration that you are able to transcend your animal nature and move to man to God. The goal is to go from animal to man to God. And by God doesn't mean that you are the creator of all things. It means you are co-creator of all things, meaning you create with God. This takes you away from becoming a slave to God or becoming just a servant. Now you become partners. You and God are partners. You and the creator of this whole thing are partners. Because in reality, that's what you're here to do. You're here to create something. You're here to build something. You're here to destroy something. God builds and destroys, right? And the way you bring light to the world is by creating. The way you bring light to the world is by building. The way you bring light to the world is by giving service to the world. Now, your way of bringing light to the world might just be serving people, you know? You might be great at planning and organizing events with service and waiters and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. That's still bringing light to the world because you're bringing joy, you're bringing good service, you're bringing hospitality, which is needed, especially in a world where everybody's stressed out. Another person's way of bringing light to the world may be bringing paintings that are unique, like Sarah James Marshall's paintings, you know? Things that are unique into the world is a way of bringing light. Henry Ford, when he made the Model T, the cars weren't here. He brought light to the world. He brought a new way. Now everybody's driving cars. He brought light to the world. When you create a child as a woman, even as a man, you both are bringing light to the world. You're bringing literally a star, a beam of light that's going to grow into their own sun and create their own galaxy around them, which is the people and the things they surround themselves with. That is your galaxy. And you are your sun. Whatever that flame emits, whatever pulse that sun gives off, which is you, is what you surround your universe with and what you focus on in your universe. Because everything is going to come into play. Different challenges are going to come into play once you decide to walk this path. But the thing is, have you been conditioning your mind so when it happens, it does not knock you off your pivot and cause you to fold in and become depressed and cause you to fold in and become regressive? Does that situation cause you to say, okay, boom, I got hit, I feel it, I absorb it, but now let's figure out a way to push it. It's like working out, lifting weights. In order to build muscle, you got to push the weight off you. You can't just sit the weight on you. You can't just eat Yoo-hoos and, you know what I'm saying, Twinkies and shit and expect to get the weight off you. You got to work the weight off you. You got to push it off you. And it's the same thing with life. I remember being young and thinking I was entitled to things because I was black and white people are racist. And I was, I didn't ask to be born, and and I was a minority, and the less fortunate and things like that. And then you realize that that's just a narrative that's sold to you. While you're here on this earth, you could be whatever you want. Let's look at the movie, The Hurricane. Hurricane Carter could have resigned the fact that he was unjustly in jail, complained about it, and did nothing. Hurricane Carter was played by Denzel Washington in the movie, by the way. But Hurricane Carter could have resigned to the fact that he was in jail and never did anything about it. But what did he do? He brought light out. He created a book. The book got picked up by a young white man, white family. They helped him get his release, Hurricane Carter, because he put out that light. He believed, he had faith, and he put his faith to work. So the thing is, we all have dreams, we all have ideas, we all have goals. But what are we doing to really create that? Or is it just talk? Is it just something nice to say? What are we really doing to create the life that we want? What type of light are we taking in? What type of light are we putting into our universe? Because again, the universe is the first womb. So as above, so below. So if out of dark matter comes stars, then out of our minds or our dark matter, which is our mind, because the mind is not in the brain. The brain and the mind are two different things. The subconscious mind and the conscious mind are two different things. Are two different things. And you could say these things are hormones that are secreted by the brain, but before they're hormones, they are electrical signals. See, we are electricity. Even when we sleep, our heart beats. There's always friction. There's always chaos. There's always things banging against each other. Our eyes blink when we talk. Our veins pump blood. So, in the womb, we are obligated to its development. We are obligated to developing our mindset. We are obligated from getting away from things that do not enhance and inspire us. If you're in a party, it's one of the best places for you to manifest ideas and for you to use your spiritual power to manifest things that you want. If you use affirmations while you're dancing, if you use affirmations while you're listening to your favorite music and playing these visualizations of the things that you want and the things that you desire in the background, that's where the real magic is. The real magic is using affirmations, intention, and visualization. Visualization with emotion, and then physical action. Visualization, emotion, and then action. Because everything is mental. Everything comes from the mind. The mind is the first womb. The mind is the womb that you have now. And the mind is universal. Because the subconscious mind is universal. Peace.